Now you're hearing me on the QCY T13 quiet environment, and let's go ahead and turn on some crowd noise for you. And this is the QCY T13 with simulated crowd noise in the environment. How do I sound? And here we go with the Redmi Buds 3 Youth or the Redmi Buds 3 Lite. Relatively quiet environment. How do I sound? And let's go ahead, add some crowd background noise for you. I don't have particularly high expectations for these, just based on their design, but you guys be the judge. Now you're hearing me on the Haylou GT7, completely quiet environment. How do I sound? Now let's go ahead and let's add some background noise. This is some simulated background noise, and this gives you guys a good idea of what these headphones sound like, trying to eliminate background noise versus just pick up the sound of my voice. Third place for microphone by far goes to the Redmi Buds 3 Lite. They were keeping up when it was totally quiet, but with background noise, they began to fall apart. The QCY T13 and the Haylou GT7 were both really neck and neck, but I think that the GT7 maybe made my voice sound a little bit better, while the T13 maybe did a better job of isolating me from background noise. But I think that overall, I kind of have to give second place to this T13 and first place to the GT7, but it's extremely close. But that's not what you're here for. You're probably here because you want to know what the best sounding of these headphones is, and we're going to get to that. But first, my name is Mitchell. I'm fluent in tech, so you don't need to be. If you want to buy any of these headphones, I'll have links to where I've found the best price for them in the description down below. Next up, I want to talk about the elephant in the room, which is that all of these headphones in some way, shape, or form are manufactured under the Xiaomi umbrella, which makes them all extremely similar. They all have extremely similar specs on paper. They all have around 5 hours of playback time, although the T13 claim 8 hours. They all have over 15 hours of playback with the case. They all feature USB-C charging, and they all feature a gaming mode, even though you're still gonna have perceptible lag, and I can't really suggest any of these headphones if you are a hardcore gamer. Just get an adapter and use wired headphones. It is still the king, even when compared to something like aptX. Now, if you watched my previous aptX budget headphone shootout with the Redmi AirDots 3, the QCY T16, and the Haylou W1, and all of that video linked up here for you, you'll know how I do this. I go on my computer, I pair all of my headphones to it, I listen to the same song back to back, streamed from the highest quality possible on Spotify. I know it's not FLAC, I know there's ways to get better, higher quality audio. I'm just trying to give these headphones the best chance possible in a consumer grade audio streaming service. Now, I test these with 3 genres of music. One of them is generally a rock, blues, singer-songwriter type of sample. The next one is hip hop, to see how well these headphones do at separating vocals from bass, as well as giving me some bass thump that we all want in hip hop. And then the last one is just with kind of modern electronic dance music. I know a lot of people like using headphones at the gym. A lot of people like to work out with electronic music, and I'm trying to cover kind of the 3 broadest bases. I'm not gonna specifically test these with heavy metal. Sometimes I'll do classic rock, but the singer-songwriter rock stuff that I test usually encompasses some type of rock and roll, and I think that this is a fair shakedown. I got my listening notes right here, and we're gonna start right off at the top with hip hop. The song was Future and Lil Yachty, Pardon Me. I chose this song specifically because it had really thick, thumpy bass. And the winner for this, kind of a standout, at least in my opinion, was the Haylou GT7. Now, the QCY T13 did have incredible sub bass, super thumpy, but that thumpy bass made some of the mids muddier, and it kind of muffled some of the vocals of the lyrics, which made them more difficult to understand, especially with Future's voice that can sometimes be a lot lower and a lot deeper. The Haylou GT7, it was a lot cleaner and clearer bass. Future's voice had a lot more clarity, and I could totally get Future's voice outside of the rest of the music that was on this track. The Redmi Buds 3 Lite they had the least amount of bass. They also felt the smallest, like the smallest sound stage in my opinion, and they lacked definition, especially in regards to the high and mids. They kind of fell apart. The next song I wanted to like kind of throw it back with some more like late 90s, early 2000s Dr. Dre, just because Dr. Dre's music is always mastered extremely well. I listened to Dr. Dre, Kush. The Redmi Buds bass on the deep end was great. Redmi Buds 3 were a little bit surprising with the amount of kind of kick that they had. Part of that has to do with the fact that they're physically smaller, so the soundstage itself is smaller and it's easier to reproduce that kick. QCY T13, again, deeper, thumpier bass. Akon's vocals on this track could still make it out above the mids, and it was still kind of bright and sparkly. But the Haylou GT7, again, were the clearest. It had the clearest and the tightest bass, the biggest soundstage, and I think that the reason that the GT7 continued to be so impressive throughout this testing, spoiler alert, is the fact that the headphones have a vented design and the actual physical size of the part that goes in your ear is larger. It's identical to that in shape and size of the Haylou W1, and all of the Pamu headphones. And right now, I use the Pamu headphones almost exclusively personally. The QCY T13 on this track had the thickest and thumpiest bass, but they kind of lost out when it came to the clarity of the bass. Next one, I wanted to kind of take it back to some more singer-songwriter music. We went Slow Dancing in the Burning Moon by John Mayer. The Haylou GT7 had great definition from the voice to the guitar. You could really hear the texture of the music and it really just shined through. The QCY T13 vocal range sounded a little bit repressed, like it was being held back. The guitar was bright and had a decent amount of definition, but also in this song, the mids and the highs weren't really fighting for definition, which is probably why the QCY T13 sounded pretty good. Now the Redmi Buds 3, at their price point, which is around $20 to $25, they are headphones. And they're truly wireless headphones, which is really the most of what I can say, but they just sounded hollow. Listening to singer-songwriter rock music, gentle, smooth rock type of music, the Redmi Buds 3 are not what you want just at all. They are good because they are cheap, but just because they are cheap does not mean that they are good. And that's kind of where I gotta put it with these headphones. I don't wanna shit on them more because I know in some places they are extremely cheap. And honestly, after listening to Slow Dancing and The Burning Moon by John Mayer with all three of these headphones, I kind of heard enough of what I needed in regards to rock and roll for how these were going to all respond. The last one was electronic music, and it was More Than You Know by Axwell and Grosso, half of Swedish House Mafia. You've probably heard that song before. Now the Redmi Buds 3 sounded exactly the way I was expecting them to sound, which was cheap, small headphones, meaning there wasn't very much soundstage, it was really compressed. They had enough bass to like give me some energy to want to go work out, but you aren't going to be blown away at all by anything other than the price with just the way that these headphones perform. The Haylou GT7, a lot of definition in the vocals, bass is dynamic, but is not packing much punch. And that is something that I have noticed with this design of headphone and all of kind of the mid and lower tier. Really, even something like the Haylou W1, which has a dual driver setup, it didn't give me that real kick in the butt with bass. Whereas the Pamu headphones that I have used in the past, those are tuned to give you more bass on the low end, even though they have that open vented design for the part that goes in your ear. The QCY T13 definitely had the thickest bass, definitely had the thumpiest bass. Because of maybe the song or whatnot, I didn't feel like I was losing out on much using the T13 versus the GT7, but I think that in regards to just overall sound quality, listening to the same song back to back to back to back with all three of these headphones my pick, drum roll, Haylou GT7, specifically because of their versatility. If you just want a pair of headphones to listen to electronic music and work out with in the gym, QCY T13, totally adequate, and they do a good enough job. The Redmi Buds 3 Lite are just cheap. There's really nothing more I can say about them. They sound fine. But then there's like another elephant in the room that we have to talk about, which might be a big deciding factor for you guys, which is controls and app support. Now, the Haylou GT7 as well as the QCY T13 both have the ability to interface with an app where you can reprogram some of the controls. Now, does the Haylou have an app? I think Haylou has an app. I know that QCY and Redmi both have an app, but the Redmi app is only for the Chinese market headphones, and the app is only in Chinese. So the only one that really has a well-featured, fully fleshed out app is QCY. And in that QCY app, you can go ahead and change the EQ of these headphones if you are listening to a specific genre of music. You can also go ahead and reprogram some of the controls. Both the GT7 and the T13 have significantly better, more well-rounded, full-featured sets of controls than the Redmi Earbuds 3 Lite. You can play, pause, skip forward, or skip back, turn on assistant, or turn on game mode on both the T13 and the GT7, whereas the Redmi Buds 3, you can skip forward, you can pause, and you can pull up assistant, and that's it. There's no rewind functionality, and none of these headphones have volume controls unless you go into their own respective app and change the controls to include a volume. Now comes the part that you've all been waiting for. Which headphones should you buy? And I'll tell you that after a quick word from our sponsor. When my 3-month free trial to Surfshark VPN ended, I found myself buying a subscription with my own money. See, in my experience, having a VPN that's fast, reliable, and without data caps was really, really convenient. See, here in Vietnam, the internet isn't the freest of places. And whether it's wanting access to BBC News or Pornhub, having the ability to change my location was extremely useful. On top of that, I found myself using Surfshark VPN when I was having issues logging into Zoom meetings because the servers here in Vietnam were overcrowded. Being able to change my location has literally saved my butt when I need to get online to teach English classes, and I have tons of latency issues with Zoom here in Vietnam. For my viewers, you get an 84% discount, so it's around $2 a month for Surfshark VPN. And if you guys want to go ahead and try Surfshark VPN for 3 months free, go ahead and click the link in the description down below. Maybe it's the right fit for you, maybe it's not. No hurt in trying. Now, at this price point, finding good quality headphones can be extremely hard. That said, I don't know if I can recommend that you would go out and buy any of these headphones simply because for a little bit more money, you can get something like the Haylou W1, which sounds significantly better, and they have aptX. The Haylou W1 in this class of like the sub $55 headphones really stick out because they are the dual driver pair of headphones. That said, if you're looking to go ahead and get ANC for a little bit more money, you can get something which is a huge step up from all of these headphones, has better sound quality and ANC in the form of either the Pamu Quiet Mini or the Pamu Z1. I've been using all of these Pamu products for well over a year now. I think the quality on them is fantastic. I've dropped them. My Pamu Z1 headphones are cracked on the top. They still work, charge fine. They still have more than 5 hours of battery life and do excellent for ANC. My Pamu Quiet have been used for almost 3 years, still work flawlessly. And my Pamu Quiet Mini have been used for about 2 years every day, and they work just as well as they did when they were brand new. I don't know if I recommend people going out and spending their hard-earned money on these, just because at such a low price point, manufacturers have to compete on cutting corners and ultimately making the build quality of these headphones worse. And I don't want to suggest something to my audience that is ultimately going to break, even if that means that I lose out on affiliate sales. Let's go ahead, roll the credits, and you guys remember, don't forget to watch till the end, see what the secret phrase is. Peace.